Believe me, I could live without you, but I really don't want to.
Yes! I'm back. I know it's been a while, but MrBucketlist is finally dropping this iconic documentary of Icon the Seas. And for those of you who are new around here, welcome to my 13th solo cruise documentary. Now, before I get into the finer details of my experience, because I got some stuff to say, there is one burning question that most people have when they click on this video. I want to go ahead and answer it right now. Is this cruise ship worth the hype? Well, let me give you a news flash. To me, this is the best cruise ship ever created. Now let's get this documentary started. Now when I walked up to the terminal, I was just completely shocked. I mean, this is the biggest cruise ship in the world, one of the biggest sailings in the world, and it was pretty much calm and empty. I just couldn't believe what was going on. I thought maybe I missed the ship. I was here on the wrong day. It was just really strange, but that's just how good Royal Caribbean had their operations flowing on that day. They had things running perfectly. Not to mention I had this express pass, which I really didn't need it, but they gave that to me for free as a part of this new little program they have. You check in responsibly and on time and stuff like that. It was really well. Worked out pretty good. But if you know me, I only have one thing on my mind right now, and no, it wasn't the buffet. Oh my God, I did it. I was the first person on the pool deck of the inaugural sailing of Icon the Seas, a moment in history. And there goes the selfie. So if you're new to my channel, this is actually one of my MrBucketlist traditions. I don't care if I have to push an old lady or shove a kid. Either way, I have to be the first person on that pool deck. It's just something that means a lot to me. And thankfully, it wasn't that hard. Not only that, but I also got my first drink as well. It was fantastic. But I'll tell you what else was fantastic, was the size and scope and the view of this cruise ship. Oh my God. Now, of course, I'll go into more detail about this cruise ship later on in this video, but just my first impressions, I was truly blown away. And this is coming from a guy that's been on almost all the Oasis class ships. This new Icon class is it's phenomenal. But after that first drink and my selfie for the thumbnail of this video, the next thing I actually had planned was lunch at Chop's Grill. Now to kind of give you all some background, I had bought the key for this cruise, like in October of 2022. And for whatever reason, I don't know why, but Royal Caribbean decided to hold, because it cost $500, they decided to hold my $500 pretty much until a month before the cruise, and then they canceled it. So of course I was upset. That came with internet, with VIP stuff, Chops, lunch, things like that. But what they did was they actually gave us free internet for the entire cruise, and then they also still gave us lunch at Chops. And so they kind of made up for it, and that was all for free. They didn't charge us for it. I was still disappointed, but at the end of the day, it worked out really well. So that's the reason why I'm here. And as usual, the food was good. Now, around this time when I was sitting in Chops, I actually heard someone say, oh, they're having a premium buffet right now. And so the big seafood extravaganza, I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. I just finished eating, just had some steak and shrimp, and now they got a seafood buffet. And so of course I had to go up there because why not? And that actually brings me to one of the best new additions of this cruise ship, the elevators. They have smart elevators on each side of the ship, the main parts of the ship. And what that basically means is you select where you want to go, you select how many people are going in there, and it takes you directly to your destination. You don't have to worry about a little kid or some heavyset person leaning against all the buttons and lighting up. That's not the case. You pick your actual destination before you get in there. And like I said, they have 12 of them. And so it's just 12 elevators on one side and they have 12 on the other. That's a lot of freaking elevators. I can tell you right now, I never waited for an elevator. So getting over to the buffet, I believe it was on the top deck, it wasn't an issue whatsoever because the elevator situation. Now check out this buffet. Yes, this is the world's largest buffet on a cruise ship. Now at this time period for me, I mean, I had just came off a Celebrity Ascent, and they also had a premium buffet that had the same exact selections as this, so it wasn't as exciting as it was the last time I saw it. But either way, I mean, of course, it was still amazing to see this in a buffet on a cruise ship that's going to the Caribbean. Like, this is ridiculous in a good way. It's crazy. This is what I ended up getting. Now, after I finished eating 2 full meals in less than an hour, because you know, hashtag cruise life, it was finally time for me to check out my room. And here it is. A balcony room on the world's largest and newest cruise ship. Good God, this thing was expensive. But the good thing is, Royal Caribbean definitely did listen to feedback when it comes to these rooms, because just like the elevator situation, the room had a lot of quality of life updates to it. So for example, there were more than enough outlets and USB chargers, things like that, more than enough storage, even storage behind this mirror. I had to ask one of my friends, and shout out to you, John, as far as how to find the safe. I didn't know where the safe was at, and so he showed me basically, hey, it was behind this, it's behind this mirror right here. I'm like, what the heck? And so, I mean, they really thought well about these rooms and just basically how to give people more for their money, more bang for their buck. Now, with that said, I still had to pay solo pricing for a double occupancy room, so yes, extremely expensive. But now it was finally time for something I saw during these pre-inaugural sailings that a lot of people like myself were upset about, that we had no idea that were going to happen until we had already booked it and paid in full for it. But they had these fireworks shows going on, so apparently there was going to be one for us as well. Now, being that I interned at Walt Disney World, Magic Kingdom, and I also interned at Universal Studios, I've seen a lot of fireworks in my day, but I've never seen fireworks during the day. This is going to be my first time. Well, they were horrible. What a waste of time. Royal Caribbean, what were you doing? That was just, they sucked so bad. I'm just like, we couldn't see what was going on. Our eyes are burning. All we saw was smoke. It was terrible, y'all. I'll give Royal Caribbean an A+ for effort, though. They got us really excited for absolutely nothing. But the good thing was, after the fireworks, they actually did kind of kick off our sail away party. And so again, this is sail away on the world's newest and largest cruise ship. So it's kind of a big deal. Okay, y'all, so it's almost time for the sail away party. There goes the entertainment team down there in the orange shirts. The same old cheesy songs that we usually hear. Now, after the sail away party, I went back to my room and got changed and freshened up. And then finally, it was time to head to dinner. Now, obviously, I had eaten a lot already in this day, so going to dinner was more about seeing the dining room and the staff, not necessarily the food. But I was very curious. I wanted to see if the menu had changed. I wanted to see how grand this dining room was going to be. I just kind of want to check on things because, I mean, as with this cruise, this was actually the cruise where I hit Diamond. And so, I mean, obviously, I've done a lot of Royal Caribbean cruises. I wanted to see how much things had changed, if they changed at all. And for the most part, things did stay the same, which isn't a bad thing. The food quality was the same, the service was great as usual, and the dining room itself, it was large, it was nice, it was really nice. Now for me, on any Oasis class cruise ship, the highlight of the cruise is usually one of these aqua theater shows. And being that now it's in this aqua type of dome thing, and it's just, I was so excited. You all have no idea. Like, I literally could not wait to see this. I refused to go on social media, go on YouTube to see any previews. I wanted to experience everything firsthand. I got there about an hour early just to sit there. I sat front and center like usual. I was so excited. This is my experience. Oh my God! I was so excited when I heard that Batman Forever soundtrack come on by YouTube. Oh my goodness, like, you just don't understand. I have been trying to use that song in a video for so freaking long, and for it to come on and then them do this weird remix with the Black Panther soundtrack, that was amazing. Oh, I mean, the show was phenomenal, as you all can see. I mean, just the soundtrack, the different stunts, I mean, just everything, the height of the acrobats, and just, oh, there's just so much I can say about this show. But literally, when I saw this cruise ship show, Aqua Action, and I know it's changed over the past couple of months, but just seeing this opening version of it, it blew me away. This is definitely, hands down, the best water show I've seen on the cruise ship, no doubt. So with all that adrenaline pumping through me, no, it wasn't time to go to bed. They actually had one more event. So they actually had the world's largest balloon drop at 12 o'clock a.m. on this cruise. So I said, you know what? I am just feeling it from that show. I mean, the stunts were fantastic. Let's get it. And so, of course, I went there. There was a lot of people. I have never seen that many people, period, on the cruise ship in one place. And then a lot of people are scared and say, oh, it's crazy, stuff like that. I thought it was nice. It was a really good vibe, and just, it was a good experience. Check it out. By the end of night one, all I could think about was how this is just going to change the whole perspective of cruising. And oh my god, that show!
I do it silly. Catch me running to the money until my feet lose feeling. Stacking water wall till it's leaking through the ceiling, man.
Ah, yes, my favorite part of almost any cruise. Get to know the ship day. Or in this case, get to know the behemoth. Now, per my norm, I did start this tour off around 4:30 a.m. It was nice and serene and peaceful. Everything was clean. I saw a couple of stragglers here and there, but for the most part, I had this entire cruise ship to explore to myself. And that's when it finally hit me. This ship is a masterpiece. I mean, starting off, you have this elegant but futuristic pearl that's just like this main centerpiece for the promenade. And then once again, the dining room itself, I mean, it's huge, it's nice, beautiful chandelier, multiple stories, nice views.
Man, kill them all, we gon' need a ton of flowers. And if you need impossible, get me by the hour. It's time to turn a Polaroid.
This new and improved Aqua Theater area, the Aqua Dome, I mean, just the way it just gives you beautiful views of the wake and just the different little cubbies that you can kind of sneak off into and just hang out in. The new Surfside area, I mean, I don't have kids, I really had no reason to be here, but just knowing that this area exists, it took some relief from the adult areas and the pool deck areas, because little kids could come here and spend all their time here and leave us the heck alone. Folks, this ship was fantastic. But as you all see this beautiful and elegant design of this cruise ship, I do want to take the time to address two things. One is, I kept hearing, oh, this is just nothing but a floating theme park and worlds lost their mind. And two, oh, bigger doesn't always mean better. One, does this look like a theme park? No, it looks like a resort, and that's what they're going after. A floating resort to your destination that's usually going to be a resort. Two, bigger doesn't always mean better. I agree with that. But what is the issue with having variety? I'll tell you all right now, as of this cruise, I hit diamonds. That means I've done a lot of Royal Caribbean cruises. This is the first time in a long time where I haven't almost felt like I was repeating the same experience like I've done on those other cruise ships, because everything was new, everything was fresh, and there was so many options. And by the way, I had a friend that was a champion of bigger always doesn't mean better, and then his wife ended up leaving him for a chip to the trash man. I wonder why. After touring the entire cruise ship, which took about 2.5 hours, it was finally time to get some quick breakfast and then head to this loyalty program for the Crown and Anchor Society. Oh yeah.
Release me from the lonely ashes of love, ashes of love.
Now, I've been to this event quite a few times now, but this one just hit differently. I mean, this is the first time they held this event on this cruise ship. But not only that, of course, all these different vloggers, which I'll talk about later on in the video, all the different vloggers were there as well. I was there. This was actually the cruise that I went diamond on. So, I mean, it was just like a really big deal. And just the music, the atmosphere, of course, the free unlimited drinks while you're in there. It was just a phenomenal time.
That works up to 17 cruises a year.
Now, something that caught my ear during this event was the orchestra. It was really, really good. And the cool thing was they said this is going to be the same orchestra that was actually going to be playing live during the Wizard of Oz performance. So I was like, oh, wow, this is going to be so cool. It made me extremely excited. And the cool thing about that was the Wizard of Oz performance was literally about an hour after this loyalty program. So I went to my room, I changed real fast, charged my phone, and I came right back to the theater.
No drive advisory currently in place.
For now, I'll bring a damage suit that will take your whole farm. There's a law protecting folks against...
Send me merry life would be a ding-a-dang if I only had a brain. Whoa!
This, hands down, was one of the best stage shows I've ever seen on a cruise ship, period. So we got the best aqua theater water show I've ever seen on a cruise ship, and now the Wizard of freaking Oz. I mean, just the effects, the sound, the music. I mean, she was flying across the stage and around our head and stuff like that. And just, they told the entire story, but it literally was like a cruise ship version. It's so hard to explain, but it was such a good time. The evil witch, she was amazing. She was funny. She was so good. This performance was awesome. On a serious note, do not record during this show. After that was done and a few hours passed by, I went ahead and had dinner. Dinner was great once again. I mean, the food on this cruise ship was phenomenal. It had the same standard quality that Royal Caribbean has almost on all their cruise ships. It wasn't bad at all. A nice, good, and refreshed menu. The buffet was good and large. The food was great. Now, being that I had been up since about 4:30 in the morning, I was extremely tired. Not to mention I had some other stuff going on that I'll talk about in a little bit, and I was just mentally and physically drained. With that said, tonight was still going to be special because tonight I actually was going to an ice skating show. And before I got on the cruise ship, I had received a message from someone named Sarah on Instagram, Sarah Skate. And she was like, hey, I'm on Icon of the Seas. I see you're going to be on the sailing. I'm actually in one of the ice skating shows. So I said, oh, wow, that's cool. And so not only that, I mean, getting to see her, but just kind of getting to see this ice skating show. The new ring itself was like a dome, almost like a circle where there's no bad seats versus the old ships. They had like this box square. And I mean, if you got there late, then you might be sitting behind a pole. But now on this one literally had a perfect seat no matter where you sat at. And so, of course, for me, regardless of what I just told you, I got my first front row seat like I did at Wizard of Oz, like I did Aqua Theater show, like I do on all my shows, because that's all I care about is getting that front row seat. And so I was extremely excited. And then the show started. Folks, this show was so good, but I'm sitting here and thinking, I'm like, where is my homegirl Sarah at? Like, where is she? And then finally she came out, and this is my reaction. was legit blown away. I mean, once again, the Wizard of Oz, the best stage show, the Aqua Theater show, the best Aqua Theater show, and now this ice skating show. Again, I have to say it, this is the best ice skating show I've ever seen. Not only because of the music, I mean, they had the freaking Halo theme, like a Halo theme on a cruise ship, but they had that. They had all these other good songs, and the projections on the floor, and then of course the performers themselves, including Sarah, they were all amazing. So I literally left that ice show just smiling and happy, like, wow, I mean, the show was phenomenal. I actually know somebody in the show. She was great. She was the best out there. And just, I mean, being on this cruise ship in general, I literally just laid down with a smile, just telling myself I am literally on the world's best cruise ship.
Lying awake in the dark, knowing by morning you'll leave, was gonna give you everything. You didn't want me.
Labyrinth, come in. Labyrinth, come in.
Yes! It's time. Again, for those who watch this channel, you probably know how this process goes. I get to know the ship one day, and I get to actually experience the ship the next. I could not wait for this particular day. I mean, not only is this the world's largest cruise ship, but this is one of the cruise ships that has some of the most thrilling activities on it. Between the slides, Crown's Edge, oh, I was just in paradise. And that was actually the issue. I just didn't know where I wanted to go first. I mean, did I want to go ahead and fall off the cruise ship and do the Crown's Edge, or did I want to do the slides? It was just extremely overwhelming, and that's my only critique about this cruise ship. It is so overwhelming that you cannot do everything in one cruise. I mean, you can try, which I did, but it's very hard, it's very exhausting, but it's a lot. With that said, knowing me, I did it all. Now let's talk about Crown's Edge. I mean, that experience was fantastic. The only thing I wish was they would have actually let me use my own GoPro and not their little silly camera. But either way, it was cool. Yes, it was very expensive, and then they knocked down the price to $45, which I think is still too much. But the cool thing was they realized it's a lot of money for a 90-second experience, so they let us go twice, so that was pretty cool. But either way, it was pretty thrilling to fall off of a cruise ship on the side of a cruise ship, the world's largest cruise ship. Pretty dope. And then for the slides, oh my god, I mean, for those who do not know, my channel is partly cruise ship stuff and then partly theme parks, but either way, it's all about thrills, and this just hit the right spot for me. And the variety, the colors, the theming, I mean, everything was just perfect. And that wasn't all. Of course, you had your other stuff that I've done quite a bit. So the flow rider was there, and then of course you had the ice skating ring, and then you had the mini golf, you had the foosball tables, the arcades. It's just so much to do on this cruise ship. And I repeat, that goes for everybody, not just thrillers like myself, not just the boomers or grannies that were in my comments. For everybody, you can find your speed. It's on this cruise ship. And just to expand on that, I said, you know what? I have been on this cruise ship for 3 days now, and I have yet to go to this hideaway area, the adults only area that the ship is just kind of boasting is like the brand new thing. It took me 3 days, 3 days to get to this area, but that's how much stuff is on this cruise ship. But I'm glad I went, because after doing all those activities and falling off the cruise ship and doing the flow rider stuff like that, I really just wanted to relax, but I did not want to be in my room. I wanted to be out in the public, but still get that cruise, that vibe of being on the cruise ship. And here it is. Now again, this is kind of where the vloggers are kind of hanging out, and vlogging just, as far as hanging out with the vloggers, I'm a solo cruiser first and foremost. I don't do the fake stuff. If I don't like somebody, I'm not going to speak, and that's just kind of how I felt. So again, they were around, yes, they were on this cruise ship, but there are certain vloggers I just don't necessarily watch, so I don't necessarily know them, and I don't want to watch them, I don't want to get to know them, and that's what it is, but yeah, the hideaway was pretty amazing. Now, of course, after doing all those adrenaline type activities and then sitting out in the sun and drinking, I really worked up an appetite, and that's one thing I really haven't talked about much in this cruise video is the food. I mean, between the complimentary and the specialty dining, there are so many options of food on this cruise ship. And in my honest opinion, unless you're like myself and you're just kind of doing a showcase of what's on board, there is really no reason or need to do any of the specialty dinings besides one, which I say is a must do, which I'll talk about in a bit. But the food on this ship in general was just fantastic. So for dinner, I went to this place called the Aquadome Market. I just wanted to try something different. I mean, I had been to the MDR a couple of times. I had a specialty dining venue coming up soon. I just wanted to do something different, and so I wasn't really feeling the buffet. And this is almost like a buffet where it's freshly prepared, you can get as much as you want, but it's more like a food hall, and it was actually really, really good. Now, with that said, I did actually go to the buffet because they had Italian night, and I said, you know what, I gotta get some footage for the good old YouTube. So I went there. It was loaded. It was a lot of stuff in there. Of course, it was kind of packed because Italian night. But either way, like I said, just the food on this cruise ship in general, it's good. Now, for tonight's entertainment, I actually had two different events lined up. One was actually a concert inside of the Royal Theater, and then the other one was the normal red night, red light, whatever you want to call it, the red party. Now, I was excited about this concert, but I was kind of iffy because when I got there, it was pretty empty, and there wasn't that many people that came in once the show got started. So I said, oh boy, this isn't a good look. But here we go.
Very, very fun song. And it's called Take 5. I want to start taking time now, outside the club.
Oh man, that was dope.
Inside the club.
These guys were great. Now, once again, I posted this on Facebook, and I had some boomers telling me that they just couldn't stand them and they had to scream and run out and stuff like that. I'm like, over an acapella group? Like, it was that bad? Like, I thought they were okay. So I really enjoyed these guys. I mean, some of the sound effects they can do, like, it really felt like they were actual coming from like a machine or from speakers. It didn't seem like it was coming from these guys' actual vocal cords. Like, it was just insane the type of sound effects they can do. And of course, like usual, I had my drink in my front row seat. I was good to go. Next up was the red night at the red party. Now, I've been to this party probably about 5 or 6 times now, and every single time I've been there, it's always been dead. It's always been a waste of time. I wasn't expecting much from this one, but I still want to check it out.
Ice on my wrist, 'cause I'm hot and I'm dancing. Caught that romancing. Canvas on your plans and girls hide your mans, 'cause I'm hot and I'm dancing.
Unfortunately, not much has changed. Now, the one good takeaway about this event was I got to meet so many people. So those people that actually watched my channel, some people that I watched their channel, the other people that just happened to know me from social media reached out to me and said, hey, I watched your stuff, you're pretty cool. It was a really cool time. Now, with that said, going back to the vloggers, I got to kind of see the clicky stuff that I kind of figured what would happen. It kind of reminds me of high school where you see people hanging out with certain people and just like that, you know, that group click stuff. It was there at this event. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, that's life, but that's the type of stuff I don't necessarily want to be around again. That's why I solo travel. But either way, it was just really a unique situation. And once again, I had another great night on Icon the Seas. But tomorrow is a really big day for a couple of different reasons. One, we are finally going into port. And two, the situation.
Good to me, and we can go
So we made it to our first port, and I was just kind of feeling off. And so it's a mixture of this being a new island I've never been to. And I'll be honest with you all, I mean, 90% of my cruises have been in the Caribbean, so I've pretty much seen every major Caribbean island, western, eastern, southern, it doesn't matter. I've been to them all, besides this one. Not only that, but I also had booked this cruise with someone else. And I mean, we had booked things down to a T. And knowing that she wasn't going to be a part of this excursion, and just knowing that we just had our issues and went our separate ways, it really kind of flustered me. And so I was just really just not feeling things. Not to mention, right before this cruise, well, right before we got to this port, they canceled my excursion. I did a third-party excursion on horseback, and they canceled it the night before. Now, with that said, thankfully I was able to actually do it in Hawaii a couple months later, so I got to get it anyway, so it worked out. But still, that kind of sucked.
Is it too late now to say sorry? Yeah, I know that I let you down. Is it too late to say sorry now?
But the redeeming factor was I was able to meet a couple of my subscribers when I was in the little waiting area for this new tour. I just picked up some random city tour. I thought, hey, it's my first time coming to the island. It seemed like it would be a cool thing to do. Now, as far as getting off the ship, I mean, it was extremely organized. I have to show it going in reverse, but basically, Royal Caribbean, instead of us having to all cram in the elevator and get to a certain floor, they have an escalator that takes you down to the gangway. And so it's so much easier, it's less confusion, less crowding. I mean, again, Royal Caribbean truly made a masterpiece with this cruise ship because they heard all of our complaints and they went forward with them. Now, getting back to the excursion, again, I booked this the day of, and so pretty much right before we got off the cruise ship, I went to the excursions desk, I booked it, and then I went to the meetup, whatever. And so I figured, hey, if it was still available, that means it must not be that interesting, or people just must not want to do it. I just figured it was probably going to be not that the best of a tour because it was left over. Either way, I was excited. Again, it was a city tour. Now, getting to the actual area for the tour meetup, it was kind of confusing, but either way, I was like, look, I'm out here, I'm getting it. Let's check it out. Now, the unfortunate part is I did see the person who I booked the cruise with, and I guess she was having issues trying to find her tour, and I felt so bad. She looked so flustered, and I just wanted to say so bad, like, hey, just come on and just join our tour. I'll work out the small details and get you on here. But I said, you know what, I don't even know what she has going on, at least for this particular day. Just let it be. Now, as far as this excursion, this was an open air city tour, and so I had done a couple of these, some pretty good, some are not the best, but this one, I could already tell it's going to be kind of unique because the guy that we had, I mean, this was one of the locals, and he had dreadlocks that were like multicolored, and I honestly had never seen something like that before on a man like this. It was really unique, and he was so laid back, so cool. You would think someone who has that style of hair would just be like really just crazy or flamboyant, just outgoing, but he was just chill as all could be. And so I'm like, okay, I'm kind of like this so far. Let's see how this goes. And then, I mean, the one thing that he said that really stood out to me, he said this is going to be a full island tour. And I'm just thinking to myself, there's no way we can tour the entire island in 4, maybe 5 hours. Let me tell you.
So I'm taking my time on my ride. Taking my time on my ride.
Oh my god, this tour was phenomenal. Wow. So let me give you all a breakdown of this. Again, we were in this like Jeep vehicle, like safari type thing. It was actually called an open air safari tour. I keep saying tram, but this is more of a safari. And it really was a real safari. So of course we went to the streets, went to downtown, things like that. He had a microphone, so he was kind of pointing out all the different areas that we were at. He took us to like different like parks and things like that. And then we went to like this little trail area where it had like monkeys and just animals, just I don't know what it was. It was like part of a mountain, but we went and drove around and stuff like that. And then after that, we went to this like botanical garden type area. I don't know what all this stuff is. It was just really beautiful. But we went there. They had like beautiful paintings. We got to see them do artwork right in front of us. Just different views of the mountain and the city and things like that. And then we got back in the truck. We just did some more driving. We got to pass by neighborhoods and schools and kids playing. And the whole time there was this view of this mountain that was just like surrounding this volcano. I'm like, man, this is dope. Like I had been wanting to see a volcano like in person for so long. And like to have this just like be the focal point of our entire excursion was just phenomenal. And then we also went to 3 different stops that were basically like just panoramic views of the island. So I mean, they're almost like cliffs. They had like little flags, bridges, things like that. Just beautiful. And the cool thing was at the last stop that we had, that was basically like in the main like town area where like the actual tourists and stuff stay at, it was like this huge like just mountains and peaks and just beautiful views. And this lady, she was in a car and she just ran me, like got the car, she stopped the car, said, "Hey, I just want to let you know, I watch you, you do amazing content." It just, man, if you're seeing this video, Miss or whatever your name is, you really, really made my day, because I just was just amazed. And then when you said that, so many other people started coming up to me and said, "Oh, I watch you too, I know who you are." It really was phenomenal. And then when we were done with the excursion, of course, we had some free time if we wanted to explore the city and things like that. I was pretty much tapped out. I was still tired from the previous night. The sun was hot, but it wasn't like burning hot, so I was able to stay out a little bit longer. But either way, that excursion was phenomenal. If you're in St. Kitts and you see the Safari open air tour, do it. It's phenomenal. Not to mention, yes, it does come with free rum punch. I mean, a lot of people didn't drink it, so it's just like me and the guy that was doing the talking, doing the drinking. But if you're a fan of local rum punch, you got it there. Even that place that we stopped at earlier, the beer was only $1 each. Definitely worth it. But now it was finally time to head back to the ship, and I almost just kind of got snapped back into reality. I mean, I could not stop thinking about what happened between my friend and I on this cruise. Like, we literally had planned so much together, and I'm not going to blame her because I've already done that, and I apologize for even bringing it up in my Virgin Voyages documentary. But for the most part, it was me, and I can accept that. And I'm just like, why? I don't know how to explain to you all, but it's just like I let a couple words through text messages just completely destroy our friendship, and it shouldn't happen that way. And so it just was on my mind, seeing her and seeing her struggle. I wanted to do something, but I just felt like I was gonna make things worse. I mean, man, you all just don't understand. I talked to this individual every single day. We had planned this thing out for months, and like I said, we planned it down to a T. And text messages, not a physical argument, nothing crazy like that. Over text messages ended everything. And it literally was all due to me just not being able to know how to respond to it and just saying, you know what, I'm done, and just walking away. That's not how you handle things. And unfortunately, that's exactly what I did. And that's the main reason why this video took so long to come out. So because of that, during the sail away, I was actually in a really wonky mood. I mean, this is my first time in St. Kitts. The weather was beautiful. The views of the back of the ship were amazing. My excursion was just phenomenal. Everything was great. But then also in the back of my mind, there was this person I really care about who was on this cruise ship, who I don't know if she had a great excursion or not. I don't know if she missed it or not. I really had some answers, and I'm just thinking to myself, do I try to make amends? Do I just leave things alone? It was just so many things going through my head. I was like, man, let me just chill out. And so that's what I did. And before you knew it, it was nighttime. And my God, the ship was beautiful at night. Now it was time for the nightly entertainment. And again, this cruise ship was just so large. There was so much going on. You could not see everything on this cruise ship in one cruise. It's impossible. And so for me, I had a personal goal. One, I didn't want to repeat the same show or the same experience more than once. Two, I honestly didn't want to repeat the same venue because most of the venues shared the same experiences. Besides the Royal Theater, they always had something different. But the clubs, the Alka Theater show, things like that, they usually had the same type of experience going on different times on each night. So that was my main goal. And for the most part, I did succeed. So for this night, they actually had something almost like a pool deck party. Now the part that I missed was this was actually a family pool deck party, and so that basically means kids are going to be there. I didn't realize that till I got up there, but I was like, okay, pool deck party. They had one on Celebrity Cruises. It was phenomenal. They had one on NCL Joy in the rain. That was good. I was just really excited about this, but again, I didn't know about the family part, and this is how it was. So yeah, obviously that's not really my thing, not having kids and all. But the cool thing was, one of the actual crewmates that was working in the show, he was actually on Odyssey of the Seas, and I remember the guy because he's in my videos. So I talked to him, we had a really good conversation. He remembered me, he remembered being on the cruise with me. It was a really cool time. But I said, you know what? This is my perfect time to truly get to take in the cruise ship at night. Everyone's at the club or at the ice skating show or the aqua theater. No one was really out but besides me. And so I just kind of walked around and I just took it in. Again, this ship was just beautiful. And once I was done touring the ship, I even took a trip down to the hideaway and just got a drink. And I sat in the pool and I just really reflected on, again, this experience, what happened before, what was going on during the cruise ship. And it just really set the tone for a nice and somber night. And if you're watching this video, this is Justin speaking. I apologize about what happened between us. For day 5, I was actually feeling back to myself. I was excited to be back in St. Thomas, outside of Nassau, Bahamas. This is actually the island I've been to the most. I've been here 5 different times now. This made it number 6. So I was really familiar with the area, but as far as the excursion, this actually wasn't my idea. So again, kind of going back to that person I was talking about on day 4, she really wanted to go here. She kept hearing so much about it, but then she kind of was questioning it because of the pictures and the reviews and stuff like that. I said, well, you know what, let's just go ahead and do it. And so we ended up booking it. Now again, it did end up going our separate ways, but we ended up booking it together in the past, and I said, might as well just go ahead and keep it. And so I did. I was excited to check it out. Now, as far as the excursion goes, so this was an express pass to Coral World, and it also included a city tour on an open air vehicle, another one of these like truck style things. Now, the funny part was, so this was done through a third party, and we had to meet up at a certain time and then basically get there by a certain time because it was like a time ticket, and then basically had to get back whenever. And so we were all there. Everyone was on time besides 2 people. We were missing a couple, and everyone was like, who are these people? We were literally sitting there for about 15-20 minutes running late because of this couple, and the guy said, if they don't come in the next 2 minutes, we're out of here because we're already running late. Well, those actually happen to be 2 very well-known vloggers, and I'm not here to put them on blast, but if you all see them in the background of the video, that's them. I mean, they did apologize about it. They said whatever happened, but I was just like, oh man, you got to be come on, y'all cruise way too much to be doing this nonsense. And so that was interesting. But either way, I was still excited to finally go to this Coral World. So the best way I can explain this is almost like one of those type of animal rehab / aquarium type places. Again, they don't have any shows where you don't see people getting in the water and doing tricks with like dolphins and turtles, nothing like that. It's more about exhibits, learning about the animals in the ocean, seeing the animals in the ocean, things like that. It was actually pretty cool, and it was pretty spread out. Now, this is not a place you can spend all day at. I mean, I was pretty much done in like maybe an hour and a half, close to maybe 2 hours. And I mean, I do theme parks all the time, and I do thorough tours, and I was still done pretty early. But either way, it was still, for the price, this ticket was only $40. So to get here, and that includes transportation and entrance and everything like that, it wasn't bad. It was actually a really good time. And I do actually want to correct myself. So those vloggers that I was talking about actually did a swim with dolphin tour. So there are periods where you can get in the water and swim with the animals. I didn't do that. I've done that plenty of other times. But that is there. But as far as like dolphin shows where they're getting in the waters and doing stuff, I don't think that was there. At least they didn't have any on display when I was at the location. But the cool thing is, not only do they have this Coral World, but right beside it, they actually have a free beach that's connected to it. So you just walk across a little bridge, and there's a free beach. And so, I mean, if you want like a beach day plus also going to like an aquarium or an animal rehab location, this is it. And again, this is $40, and that includes round trip transportation. I mean, it was a steal. So again, shout out to TWT. I wouldn't have even thought about this if it wasn't for her. And again, I was struggling about even putting this in a video just because, but thank you. This was a phenomenal experience. So after that excursion was done, again, like I said, it was only a couple of hours. It was time to head back to the cruise ship. It was nice. Again, they gave us a nice panoramic tour of the island. Not a full island tour like my previous excursion, but still enough just to kind of see the island, get some good pictures and things like that. It's pretty nice. And this is something I forgot to mention. So not only did the guy with the multicolored hair who ran our tour excursion in St. Kitts, he watches my channel. He said I did some excursion with one of his cousins in another country. But apparently one of the security guards in St. Thomas knew me as well. Like I said, I've been there about 5 different times and I've done videos on it each and every time, so that makes sense. But it was so cool to get recognized by security. Mr. Bucketlist here. Say what's going on.
How are you doing? I'm one of the taxi drivers here and I serve you guys today.
I apologize. I meant taxi. I'm very tired. He was just telling me, I've seen so many vlogs that I knew I was expecting to see you. So again, that really made my day. Thank you so much, everyone that reached out to me. I really appreciate it. Now, on my way back to my room, of course, I had to cross by the Royal Promenade. And when I did, they had this big, like, Ghostbusters ghost to blow up, like, it was deflating, it was a blow up doll. I'm just like, what's going on here? Like, I've been on a Halloween cruise, and this is a cruise that's at the end of January. Like, what's happening? And so it's just really funny, and eventually they just had to take it down. But I figured something was up when they had that big mascot coming up. So I was pretty excited to see what was coming up soon. Now, when I came back to my room, and this is something I really haven't talked about much, but being that this was an inaugural sailing cruise, every single day we got something new in our room, a different gifts, basically celebrating the inaugural sailing of this cruise ship. And so, I've gotten stuff through the previous days, and I'll go ahead and show it right now, but this was the best gift, period. So this bag, Empire Supper Club, it basically is like, it was like a drink mixing kit, and it's just this really high quality bag. It was phenomenal, and they gave this to every single person on the cruise ship. Now, at first I thought this was only for the people that had booked the Empire Supper Club, and I actually had booked that. But when I found out everyone else on the cruise ship got it, I was like, wow, that's really cool. Like, Royal did a really good job. Not to mention, I actually did get my invite for the Empire Supper Club as well. And so I had the bag plus the invite. I just felt so official. I was so excited for this. Now, unfortunately, I hadn't got this really nice little outfit going for the Empire Supper Club, and I realized that I left my actual suit jacket at home. So I was very concerned because they pretty much said you cannot walk in those doors without a suit jacket. And so the cool thing was they actually had an option to basically get them a call, and they would have you fit it for a rental suit jacket. It was free of charge, but you basically just wear it to get in. You take it off when you get in, then you just wear it to get out, and they take it from you. So thankfully, Royal saved the day with that, but either way, I was extremely excited. This Empire Supper Club, yes, it was a $200 meal, but that literally was going to be the highlight of my cruise. At least I thought it would be. Now, this may be a first for the channel, but on my way to the Empire Supper Club, I actually felt kind of nervous. I don't know why. I was not expecting to do this as a solo, and then even though I've eaten at solo restaurants probably more than 100, 200 times now, this particular one, I was just not expecting to do it this way. And so being how elegant it was, being that it had a $200 price tag, I really didn't know what to expect going by myself. Here's my experience. Thank you.
My name is Krishmi. Welcome to our elevated.
Oh, yeah. Sure. Thank you. All right, y'all. So they serve Moet.
As we embark on a musical journey. Cheers!
Cheers!
Heaven. I'm in heaven.
Now, if you watch the MrBucketlist YouTube channel, you already know that this is actually the first thing that I reviewed off of Icon of the Seas, Empire Supper Club. This experience was the best dining experience on a cruise ship. Hands down, it was amazing. The food, it kept coming. They weren't like huge portions where you're gonna get full. They were just right. They tasted perfectly. And then they had the wine pairings, the alcohol pairings. It was so much going on. And then this beautiful music. Oh my God. It was phenomenal. And as you all have probably noticed, usually I've talked about cougars by now so many times, but out of respect, I said, you know what, I'm just not going to do it in this video. I will say this one thing right here. There were a set of 2 of them right beside me, and they got to talking to me. They were asking about my financial status and things like that, and what am I doing here? You know how the lingo goes, a young man at a $200 event just for some food. What's up with them? And so we got to talking, and I started, ooh, and all that type of stuff. So I ended up becoming friends with them, but I said, you know what, this cruise, I just can't do it. But as far as some of the standouts at this location, this bread was some of the best bread I've ever had. I know it's just some bread, but it was amazing. The unlimited Moet, that was phenomenal. Caviar, oh my God. So the caviar was just phenomenal. I think when I looked it up online, it's like I think $200 an ounce or something like that. It was really expensive. So I mean, the stuff that we ate in here versus the price that we paid, it definitely made sense when you think about the entire experience altogether. This food wasn't cheap. Now the one thing I was not really a fan of, ironically, was the steak. It just didn't taste that good. It just felt like it wasn't cooked right. But everything else we had, including those drinks and the desserts, oh my god, they were all phenomenal.
Would've came back for you. I just needed time to do what I had to do. Caught in the life, I can't let it go. Whether that's right, I won't ever know. But here goes.
So that experience really lifted my mood, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna do a little bit more tonight. I'm not gonna call it early tonight. And so I kept hearing about this band called Phoenix. I mean, Phoenix, everywhere you go, people keep saying, you gotta see Phoenix, you gotta see Phoenix. And so I finally got a chance to see these Phoenix people. Now, last time I tried to see them on my Odyssey of the Seas cruise, it was so packed. My friend and I, and this is another friend, by the way. My friend and I, we couldn't even get to the stage because even the stairwells had people just jam-packed on there. But this time around, because it was Icon of the Seas and they had so much other entertainment, it was easy to get a seat, and I was able to check them out. Here they are. So yeah, these guys are awesome. I mean, if you are a fan of classic rock, which I actually am, wow. I mean, they sound just like these guys. And I mean, yes, these guys are up in their age, but they were getting it. It was a phenomenal show. And once again, another amazing night. There was no way on earth that I was getting off of this cruise ship without having my famous MrBucketlist breakfast on the balcony. Let's go. In all seriousness, yes, that breakfast was amazing. The alcohol, the champagne to go along with it, phenomenal. Mwah. Day 6, and our last official sea day on Icon of the Seas. Now this is going to sound crazy, but I was really getting overwhelmed just thinking about everything I could be potentially doing, whether it's just chilling on the pool deck, going to one of the swim up bars, going and swimming, doing the activities, seeing some shows. I really was having a hard time figuring out what I wanted to do because I was like, man, this is our last official day to explore this cruise ship before we have our port day and then we're off the ship. So essentially I did a little bit of everything. Now the first thing I did was I went up to the swim up bar, and so I was so excited to finally try this out. The last couple times I went by it, for some strange reason they had kids at a swim up bar, and they weren't actually at the bar, but they were in the pool area. And so thankfully this time around it was nothing but adults. Everyone was drinking, they had good music playing, so I went and got a drink to say I did it, and I actually really enjoyed it. And then I went back to the hideaway, the adults only area. Again, it wasn't that crowded. I was able to get some nice pictures. I saw some fellow vloggers that I actually like and talked to. We took pictures of each other, helped each other out, just kind of talked and stuff like that. And then I just also met just some regular guests that happened to know who I was or were asking me who I was and things like that. So I kind of explained the MrBucketlist channel, things like that. That was all a really good time. Then I went to the hot tub. It had been a while since I've been in the hot tub and just kind of got to clear my mind. So I said, you know what? This is part of my sea day, my chill day, get to know the ship a little bit more. And so I had a good time in the hot tub until about 30 guys just randomly came to the hot tub. When I was getting out, they all started coming in. And it was so many people. It was just so disgusting. I mean, the water was turning gray. I'm like, God. And I know Margaritaville at Sea just recently got in trouble for having too many people in the hot tub. I think they had maybe 10 to 6-person hot tub. This had about, like I said, 30 to 40 people in a hot tub that was clearly made for about 12. So I don't know what was going on there, but that was disgusting. After I got away from the filthiest hot tub on planet Earth, I decided to go ahead and check out the Aquadome. I wanted to see how it was during the day, just kind of see if anybody was in there and stuff like that. And there were actually people in there. The cast of Aqua Action, the Aqua Theater show, they were in there doing their routines and doing practices and stuff like that. It was pretty cool to see. Then I just started hitting all the different snack destinations around the cruise ship. Now, one of my favorites was actually in the Surfside area, the area that was for kids. And the main reason why was my room was maybe about, I would say maybe about 5-minute walk away from Surfside. And they had like this little area that serves like burgers, hot dogs, and then fries and tater tots. And it was quick. It was never a line. You can literally just go there and get your food and leave. I saw a brother in there who was over there getting some food. I was like, is it good? He was like, man, I'm over here all the time. And when I got my first try, I was like, yeah, he ain't lying. So again, if you're like me, if you have a balcony room that's near that Surfside Village, if you need a quick snack, just go there. It's so much easier than going up to that buffet at the top deck or going down to one of the main dining rooms. Just leave. Go in there, get your food, and come right out. You'll be done in like 2 minutes. And then after that, they had the Anchors Away party. Now, I've seen this multiple times on many different cruise ships, so it wasn't nothing new. It was literally the same exact show all over again. But it was still cool to see on Icon of the Seas. This is something great for families. So after doing a little bit more chilling, a little bit more drinking, it was finally time for lunch, then dinner, which again was phenomenal. This cruise ship has some amazing food. This time I ended up going to Playmakers, and the food was so good. I love their wings, I love their fries, I love everything they have at this place.
What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me.
Now for tonight's entertainment, this is actually one of these big parties, and I was a little bit concerned because last time was filled with a bunch of kids and nobody was there. This time around, I was like, oh god, if it's like that, I'm just gonna go ahead and bounce. So I went ahead and I grabbed my little cool sunglasses. I said, let me go ahead and check it out. Let's see what's going on. And this is almost like a one-hit wonders theme party. Check it out.
And here comes Spangler and Beckman. Who you gonna call? Everybody.
Royal Caribbean did such a good job with this, and shout out to Mike. I have not mentioned him yet in this video, but Mike is the cruise director on this cruise ship. I had him on Wonder of the Seas. He was amazing then, he's amazing now. This man can tell jokes, this man can ice skate, this man can cruise direct. He can do a lot, and Royal Caribbean did a really good job picking him as the cruise director. He's nice and laid back, but he's funny, he's cool, he's a really good guy. And as far as this party, I mean, they were just getting it. I mean, they had little costumes and just all these songs. It was mainly 90s songs, 90s and early 2000s songs. Oh, I love that generation. That's my generation. Like, I knew every one of these songs. It was such a good time. We only had one more full day left on this cruise ship. And I'll tell you all right now, it really was a perfect day at Coco Cay.
Be a nice and clean. Be a nice and clean. You girl make money every day. Bobby feeling boo. Money ignite the world. Money make my dream come true.
Now, when we initially talked about booking this cruise, there was a couple main things that made us go ahead and go forward with it, even though it was extremely expensive. So the main thing was, of course, it was an inaugural sailing on the world's largest ship, one of our favorite brands, Royal Caribbean, and just the promotion. I had never seen a cruise ship get promoted like this, a cruise get promoted like this, period. So between that and this hideaway beach, and so, I mean, of course, I don't have any kids, my friend didn't have any kids, being away from kids and having an adult area on Coco Cay, one of my favorite private islands, that was such a big deal. And that really is what made or break this experience, was being able to say we did both of those. I'll be honest with you all, this cruise, after the cruise itself, the excursions, just all the stuff and prep I did for it, for me just alone, it was close to about a $10,000 cruise because I spent so much time and effort on this cruise. And then it was very upsetting, of course, because if you know anything about this inaugural sailing, they had all these preview sailings that they gave to travel agents and vloggers for free. And they got to do all these experiences, so get on the cruise ship, go to this hideaway beach. It was actually pretty upsetting, I'm not gonna lie. Royal almost did the trick bag on us, but honestly, by this point, actually getting on the cruise ship, I didn't care. I was so excited about today.
Money, money ignite the world. Money make my dream come true. Let me love you, tell you why, me girl. I forget the night with her.
Alright, y'all, so look who was the first person in the pool besides the security, well, the lifeguard. This is pretty amazing. And with all that said, yes, it was worth it. So just for reference, I was the first person on our inaugural sailing to get in the pool at the hideaway beach. First person there. I got my selfies, I got my videos. I was so excited. Yes, the weather wasn't the best, at least at first, but it didn't matter. I was finally there at this heavily rumored experience, hideaway beach. So let's break it down. First, of course, they had the food. The food didn't start getting served till about 11 o'clock, but they had this new little pizza area. Then they also had the snack bar with the funnel cakes and the chicken sandwiches, things like that. The food was actually really good. Of course, it was stuff you can find in other parts of the island besides the pizza, but either way, it was still good. Then you also had the pools and the swim-up bar. Now, of course, they have the same thing at the lagoon and the other parts of Coco Cay, but if you've watched this channel, then you know I've already done the Coco Cay Beach Club, I've done the lagoon area, I've done the Thrill Water Park. I've done everything else you can possibly do on this island outside of the zip line because it's always closed for some reason when I try to do it. But I've done everything else, and so I needed something new and something fresh, and this was definitely the thing to hit the spot. But not only did they have the swim-up bar, but they also have a live DJ, and the DJ was playing good music, and they had smoke machines every couple minutes. It was all just really dope. But let me show you my favorite part. There was this super intense game of this just playing with this beach ball, and it was just trying to hit it as many times as we could before it hits the water. It was so much fun. There was this one girl that kept calling me GoPro because I was hitting the ball with my GoPro because I was trying to get footage and have a good time. Good lord, this experience was fantastic. Now, the only thing that I did not like, and I just want to make this clear, everyone, if you go on any type of inaugural sailing, you're going to pay double, triple, quadruple the price of things and normal activities. So, for example, a hideaway beach pass for the day for this particular cruise was about $109. I got it supposedly on sale for $99, but then a couple weeks later I saw people were going there for $20, $30, $40. I was just so upset. Like, what is this? Is ridiculous. So it's like, I mean, just kind of keep that in mind. You're paying for the time period that you're going, not necessarily for the experience. It's a huge difference. And also, I just want to give a shout out to so many different people I've met, especially my man right here, Mr. Florida Cruiser himself. He has been supporting my channel for years now, and just meeting him in person, getting to have a drink with him and his wife, it was amazing. Shout out to you. And just a general shout out to everyone else I met up there. I was just walking and doing my tours, doing my selfie, and I was hearing people calling my name. It really means a lot to me. Again, I always just forget that more people than just myself watch these videos. So when I actually have people run up to me in person, it really just makes me happy. So thank you so much. So after that phenomenal day at the Hideaway Beach Club, it was finally time to head back to the ship. It was kind of somber again because I'm realizing, look, this amazing vacation is coming to an end. But when I got back to my room, I actually had a special invitation to some event, some private event. I'm just like, what is this? And basically what it was feedback about the Empire Supper Club. So basically we would be in there for about an hour, just give our feedback, and then if we stayed there for the entire time, we actually got $150 onboard credit. So that essentially took my $200 dining experience that I would have happily paid for again and brought it down to $50. So I mean, Royal Caribbean, thank you for that opportunity. Thank you for listening to us. It was really just an amazing feeling to be there. Again, some people realized me from YouTube and stuff like that. It was maybe about, I would say no more than 10 of us that were in there, but just being asked to provide my experience, especially since I'm a solo traveler, and I had to mention that to them. So for you all that don't know, I actually got moved because I was a solo traveler, and I was pretty upset. But the good thing was they actually moved me from the back of the Empire Supper Club to right in the middle, so I was right in front of the actual stage, as you all saw in my videos. So if it hadn't been that way, if it was the reverse, where I got moved from the front of the stage to the back, I would have went off. Y'all would have saw a completely different video about this experience, but it was a good thing. The only thing I didn't like was the main and only reason why they moved me was because they wanted to accommodate a couple. And I'm like, you all didn't think about this ahead of time? Why would you wait until I'm actually sitting down? So that happened. But either way, like I said, I got moved to a better seat. Plus, I got $150 just for giving my feedback. I couldn't ask for more. And then once again, we had the sail away. And then they had some cheesy fireworks that I didn't stay for because it was bright and sunny outside. There's no point in trying to look at fireworks during the day. But it was just a somber and just like I said, just a humbling experience to say, look, I finally did it. I mean, this is the inaugural sailing, and it just meant so much to me to be a part of this experience. Side note, look at this nasty hot tub. Ain't no way.
Hey, when I give you these keys, homeboy, don't move my car, man.
Now, I actually had a pretty packed night ahead of time, so I went and had my final dinner. I said goodbye to my waiting staff. I didn't go to the MDR as much as I usually do on other cruises, but either way, they were great. They took care of me. I got my pictures, I got my videos. It was a good time in the MDR. I enjoyed every single meal I had in there. Now, as far as the final night of entertainment, it was completely overwhelming. So they had a silent disco, they had the adult game show, they had just a regular show in the theater. They had all this different like club stuff going on, karaoke, things like that. So I said, you know what? I've done the silent disco almost on every single cruise I've been on. The best I've ever seen was on Celebrity Ascent. I really don't think I can top that, so I'm good on that, especially since it was in some dance club. Last time I was in the Atrium, it was just phenomenal. So I said I'm gonna pass on that. As far as the adult game show, it's always the same thing over and over again. It's usually the guys having to take the pants off and stuff like that. I've seen enough of that, so I was good on that. I said, you know what? Let me go ahead and check out this brother inside the theater show and see how he goes.
And I thought John Legend's amphibian.
And he was good. He was really good. Now, the one thing I didn't like was when he was walking by, he stepped on my shoe. But outside of that, he was really good. You saw this old man standing up in the chairs, just getting the crowd pumped up. It was a really good time. Then after that, being that I had on some decent clothes, I said, you know what? I think it's time to go ahead and club hop. And that's what I did. That was extremely exhausting, but it was such a good time. Shout out to one of my favorites, which was that jazz club. So I actually went there a couple times throughout this cruise. I just didn't have time to talk about it. But the jazz club inside of Central Park was just so chill and so relaxing and a really nice and intimate experience. So I really enjoyed it. But the other clubs were good as well. But after all that club bouncing, I thought, you know what? I think it's finally time. It was time for me to do my once a cruise vacation reflection, where I get in the hot tub, I get in the pool, and I just hang out and just kind of reflect on how things went. And that's what I did. And once I got in that hot tub and that pool, things just truly hit differently. I mean, I was so concerned about this cruise just going haywire just due to the stuff that was going on before and even during the cruise, but it didn't. I mean, it's just between my own personal issues and then all the vlogging and all the clout and all that type of stuff. Like, I don't like being around that. When I go on vacation, yes, I make videos, but at the end of the day, it's still a vacation. I still want to enjoy it. I'm not here to do work. I'm here to have a good time and share my experience. And thankfully, that's exactly what happened. Not to mention, I mean, this is literally the world's largest inaugural sailing that's ever existed. And just to be a part of that, I mean, just to meet the people that have been watching my channel for years and just have a good time, it just, I mean, it truly meant the most to me. And it just finally hit me when I was in this hot tub. Now, usually in every one of my other solo cruise documentaries, as soon as I talk about my reflection piece, I'll drop a song in there, I'll show some pans, and I'll move on to the next day. But not this time. I was in such a good mood and I just really didn't want to leave this cruise ship. I pulled out the famous magical robe and I just took a stroll around the cruise ship in my robe. I know it sounds crazy, but the goal was to go and get some food late night and I just didn't feel like getting all dressed up again. So I put on my robe. And I got some food from the Pearl. This was one thing, again, I haven't really talked about much, but there was so many different food options on here. And one of my favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and just even snacks and dinner is this Pearl. So this is why I ended up getting. And finally, after that late night snack at about 2 a.m., I was finally ready to close things down. And there was only one thing that was on my mind. This really is the best cruise ship in the world. So as usual, I like to keep things quick on the last day. There wasn't much to it. I did not eat any type of breakfast or anything like that. I just pretty much got up, I walked around a little bit, then I said, you know what, I want to go ahead and get lined up and get ready to get off this cruise ship. Now to my surprise, when it was time to get off the cruise ship, there was no line. Just like the organization as far as getting on the cruise ship was a breeze, the same thing when it came to getting off the cruise ship. And not only that, but they actually had like a film crew and then the captain and everybody like that. They were all greeting us, basically appreciating us for being on the cruise ship, and it just really felt special. It was a really good time. And with that said, I was back to my car in the quickest time ever leaving out of Port of Miami. Crazy. But now it's time to give a recap. Again, I want to thank you all for being so patient with this video. I mean, I don't like to rush things out. I know there's other vloggers out there that want to be the first, and that's how they get views, that's how they make their money. But for me, I'm more of a perfectionist when it comes to these documentaries. If it's not right, it's not coming out. Not to mention, I mean, now you all know exactly what I was dealing with on the cruise ship, and I could not bash this woman again in another video. I've already done in Virgin Voyages video, and I apologize about that. I wasn't going to do it here, so I want to make sure what I had to say was right, it was fair, and basically just tell the truth that for the most part the issues that we had between us and why we fell out was due to me. And so it's just like, between all that going on, I know you all came here for a cruise review, but for me it's a lot more than that. That's why I call these documentaries. But at the end of the day, I mean, this cruise ship was incredible, this cruise was incredible. I met so many great people, I had such a great time. These are some of the best shows on period I've ever seen, like Broadway, on land, on water, it doesn't matter. These shows were amazing. Cruise ship was phenomenal. So again, I've been MrBucketlist. I hope you all enjoyed this iconic documentary, and I'll see you soon on Margaritaville at Sea, Islander, coming soon.